Hi everybody, it's Tatiana, and today I am going to do a book review, and I am doing a book review of Black Like Me by John Howard Griffin. I was gonna wait to get this done, but I really have to do a better job on my book review game because I just procrastinate in getting them done because sometimes they're a little difficult to do without spoiling information. I'm so used to talking to people who don't read but want to know what happens, so I'm used to giving book details versus just discussing the book and whether or not I like the book and what I did or didn't like about the book without giving any information. Doing reviews are a little difficult for me for that reason. I know we all struggle, or a lot of us struggle with doing book reviews, but we all, I'm sure, struggle. Those of us who do struggle for different reasons. So that's why it's difficult for me to do book reviews. This was my first nonfiction read since a long time, since high school. The reason why I was pressed and impressed to read this book is because Frenchie D did a review of it that really just made me want to read it. Whereas before I'd seen people do reviews and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm not involved. I'm not worried. But when Frenchie D did it, I felt like I was missing something. I felt like I was missing out when she did her review. So I said, okay, I'm going to read it. And then I said, well, let me go ahead and buy it because I will say that I'm going to read it and 3 years will pass and I still haven't read it. So I bought it, and then I made the decision to do themed reads for 2014. So this was my first read for Black History Month. I've written in like journal format, and it basically is chronicling John Howard Griffin's walk in the South as he, who is a white man, takes a pill and does some tanning to change the color of his skin to look like he is a black man, and then traverses through 3 or 4 states in the South before the time of the Civil Rights Movement to experience the racism and difficulties that African Americans just dealt with at that time. I will say he did, like, the bravery that it would take to do something of this nature. I didn't know anything about this book, and I have thought, as a kid, wondering what it would be like for someone who is black, who did not experience the racism of that time and the greatness and the extent that it was, what it would be like to experience that as a black woman. I could not imagine what it would be like to experience that as someone who is white masquerading as a black man and constantly living under the fear of, what if they find out I'm not black? What if they find out, what if I mess up? Like he divulges his experiment and his secret to a few chosen people, but for the most part he keeps it separate. He separates himself from his family. He separates himself from the majority of his friends, and really it is him on his own. I have to keep reminding myself, this is in the 50s. This is pre-cell phone era. There is no GPS. You make a wrong turn, you go somewhere where you don't know anybody and there is no safe haven, and you get jacked up, you are fucked. And just reading what he did, how he went through it, how he made it through state after state after state, and the chances that he took in doing so, to me, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine making the decision to do that when you don't have to. So absolutely a good read for that portion of it. I will say that the 30-page epilogue was a little heady. I felt like I was reading a history book, because basically the epilogue is what begins to take place in the with the civil rights movement, and he does a lot of name dropping with some people that he worked with and conversed with during that time period, and that was a little heady, and I felt like it was a lot of work for me to read. I read it, but it was a lot of work for me to read. I'm glad I read the book. I would definitely suggest reading the book. This book was very enlightening, very thought-provoking, and I will link Dee Dee's review of it in the description box below. Please go check her review out, because I am so sure she did a better job of reviewing this than I did. That is all I'm going to say about the book, other than I'm glad that I read it. I hope you all have a good weekend, whenever you see this video. Peace out.